people, the homeowners pay too much taxes, and I like to change that a little bit. And this is the only difference we have tonight.
Thank you. And now on to the Borough Assembly. We'll start with Borough Assembly Seat C and Billy Conklin.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? I appreciate this opportunity this evening to let you know a little bit about myself. I came to Alaska in 1977 as a military spouse. We drove an old broken down GTO up the Alcan, and I was quite shocked to arrive at Air Force Base. But I've loved it and stayed here. I went on to UAF to graduate with my bachelor's degree, and during that time I spent a bit of time in the financial industry, over 20 years now. Currently I'm president of MAC CEO, I'm CEO of MAC Federal Credit Union, very proud to be involved with that organization. And I've done my part with the community, be involved with United Way, with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and so I want to get back to my community, and I think this is the next step, is being involved with our government. So I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Kelly Mack.
Thank you. My father moved me here when I was 4 years old. He was a single parent and widower, and we moved to Clear. I grew up in Clear and moved here 30 years ago to graduate from West Valley High School. I've been married to John Brown for 26 years. We have 2 children, Devin and John, and 2 grandchildren, Nathan and Eli. I've worked in both the public and private sector. This is my first run for public office. I think in general our community is in pretty good shape. I do think we need to relieve the burden on the residential property tax owner, and would like to see an increase in the residential rent exemption. Thank you.
Tammy Wilson.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Hi, my name is Tammy Wilson. And about 5 years ago, I was one of those tourists that came here with my 4 children and my husband. And at that point, this was the 49th state that we had taken them to. And it was the only place that everyone fell in love with. We went back home, stuck a for sale sign in our yard, and came up here looking like the Beverly Hillbillies with a pack full. So, you know, we have 2 kids still at the university, and we have 2 right now that are out in the workforce. So, you know, this community has so much to offer, not just tourism, but jobs, just the whole way that we sell our community. People love it, and there's no wonder that it does. And I want to be on here because I don't believe in the sales tax, especially not because you're tourists. And I think we just spend too much money, and we really need to look at our budget more closely. Thank you.
Seat B and Luke Hopkins.
Thank you. I'm behind the podium over here, so please hold your timer up high. I had the luxury of flying up here 41 years ago on the nonstop Pan American flight from New York City. It was a great adventure, stepping off to the Northern Lights. But 10 years ago, I started working on the Planning and Zoning Commission, but the last 3 years, I've been working hard to improve the quality of life here in this town and improving borough government as an assembly member. And I hope to continue on that, to work on responsible budgets and responsible development, listening to neighborhoods while making decisions on commercial development and rezone actions and public recreation. I ask for your vote, and I look forward to this evening. Thank you very much.
Seat I, Dave Miles.
My name is Dave Miles. I've lived here 32 years. I've run for office for the last 16 years. I've always brought up issues like public transportation. Specifically, I've testified that we need to structure our bus system so that tourists can use it. They're used to using it in other countries. So we can bring tourist dollars directly to local businesses. Years ago, I ran a restaurant called Get a Meal for a Song. I had reindeer stew. All of a sudden, I got swamped with tourists wanting to see the local musicians and to try reindeer stew. I'm against the sales tax, especially the idea that we need a seasonal sales tax to get the tourists. I don't agree with that philosophy at all. Thank you.
Yes, hello. A couple of us are over here behind the post. Look around the post. I've been here 38 years. Started out on the Planning Commission back in the 80s and ran for the Assembly a couple times. Finally got elected in 1990. Served a number of terms on the Assembly. I was term limited out last year, so I had to take a year off. My interest is land use and transportation issues, specific stuff like that. My last year on the Assembly, I was the Assembly's rep on the FMATS committee, committee that Don Seeliger mentioned over there. The mayor's on, city mayor's on that, and one Assembly person, borough mayor and one assembly person, city mayor, one city councilman, and a few others. But it's a very important job, and I would look forward to getting back on the assembly again. Thank you.
Valerie Sheridan.
Yes, thank you, and congratulations on 30 years in existence. When I was a city council person, the visitor industry came to the city council and said, we would like to institute the bed tax. And the reason that we wanted to do that was because we needed to raise funds to make the visitor industry work well. And I supported that, and that's how the bed tax came in. I'm running for re-election. On this, I am finishing 11 years in public office, and I'm hoping to get re-elected this year. And I'm looking forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone for the great introductions. And now on to candidate questions of the visitor industry. And I'm thinking if we can mix it up a little bit, but should we keep them rock and roll? So who wants to, we'll just, well, Frank Turning, I want to make sure everybody gets a shot.
Yeah, the last 20 years here in Fairbanks, I think, in my opinion, real sad scenarios of history has been gutted out of Fairbanks. And I think most tourists that I've talked to, they didn't come up here to see a Marriott. And it's one of them when it comes to destination marketing, what are you going to do about that? To bring something back. I was raised in Sandy, Oregon, and a number of years ago, it was voted the most artistic city in America, because they preserved and saved the old town of Sandy, Oregon. And then what can you do to bring that back?
Who would like to answer that?
Well, I think that's a great observation, Frank, because we know that history and culture is a big motivator for people to travel. And if they don't come with that, a lot of people that come to Alaska really think of mountains and wildlife. But certainly when they get here, if they hadn't thought about it before, it's something that they're really, really interested in. So I agree with you. In a small way, I know FCVB is doing a part. That cabin, log cabin visitor center is built in the 50s, and we take a lot of pride in maintaining that. When we vacate that to go to the Morris Thompson Center, the Yukon Quest will be our tenant there. So we want them to be successful in that cabin. We think they're a really compatible sport for that building. And also,
Gotcha.
Terry had a question, then we'll go with Steve, and go behind you.
I have more. Thank you. I heard this again this morning. There's a perception in this community that there are more foreign workers, non-Americans, working in our community in the summertime than in the past. And so I was wondering if you could talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to address that, and there's a really easy explanation for it. If all you need to do is open up the one pages of the newspaper, and do that today, or do it in the middle of summer, and you'll see that no matter what business you're in this community, there isn't enough staff to handle all the jobs that are out there, and we're just one facet of the people that hire, and sometimes, you know, what we have now, we have very few hourly workers, basically. I find that the box stores take quite a few of them. And so there aren't enough people around to do the jobs. I wish there were.
Thank you. Steve Thompson, and then Luke Hopkins, and Guy Sattler.
Yeah, over the last few years, there's been a tremendous amount of additional hotel rooms built. More hotels being built every year, it seems like, by the airport last year. This year, it's under construction now. The Holiday Inn Express over by the box stores is going up. That's a 4-story. Is there any fear of us oversaturating the market?